nervous. But I'll do my best.
Let's crush some virtual bugs. Hello everybody, it's Scott here and we are playing through Aether Gazer. It's available on iOS and Android and I'm currently playing through on my iPad. Now this is an RPG combat game with gacha mechanics. So what's happened is the world has been destroyed, very sad, much heartbreak, many tears, and the last of humanity have had their consciousness uploaded to a virtual orbital system that's revolving around the world so that they can live on perpetually as virtual humanity. But from that, some of the code has been corrupted and formed these horrid creatures that we see in front of us. And as a way to combat those creatures, the source code has come up with basically an antivirus software which we are controlling, these avatars, these different characters. And we're able to collect and recruit different heroes. As I say, there is a gacha mechanic system in play and we can upgrade their equipment, upgrade their levels, and eventually become the best team that we can be. I've played a few of these gacha games already and they sort of all blend into one. The characters all look cut from the same cloth and it's all a little bit okay. But when I jumped into this game, something that really stood out was the combat style. And you've just seen me play it through there. I'm gonna jump into another mission right now, but I'm gonna skip some of the storyline and I'll explain why in a little bit. But jumping into some more combat, it's so fluid and the animation is fantastic. Using these controls right now, left side of the screen is to control around in this 3D arena. We can move the camera around by swiping on the screen, easily to do. We can dodge out the way of attacks by pressing the dodge button, and the bottom left on the right hand side of the screen. And the basic attack is this sword button, but around it are these different skill abilities. Now, it's not necessarily just about using them whenever the cooldown has finished, but if you use them in a certain order, you'll be able to unlock better combos. And it's all about using tactics on the go in order to make sure you get the most effective moves possible. And when you load up, and I'm about to do it, there we go, we can unlock a huge multi-team ability where all three of our teammates, they come together for a huge attack, and boom, there we go. And now let's just try and find the other enemies there and jump back in. And that is something that really stuck out to me, was how fluid, how engaging, and how fun the combat is. Now, I've played this game for about an hour before starting recording this video, and it is quite a unique game. The story is something that you can really get into. It doesn't shy away from it being sci-fi fantasy in this dystopian future. There's a lot of exposition, a lot of information that comes your way, but it's genuinely engaging, and the voice acting is wonderful. Each character has a different voice actor and it's very, very interesting to listen to them, and it's acted so wonderfully. But the issue is, and I'm just going to jump into another match right now, the story goes on for quite a while. Each cutscene before and after a match can last about 2 or 3 minutes. And that's great if you're really invested in listening to new story and learning new worlds and diving into new lore. But the way it's broken up, it's kind of a little bit odd, because you'll be chatting with different characters, learning personal stories, talking about corporate espionage and all of these conspiracies of these corporations trying to take over and everything. But when you then get into another match, it's different characters fighting in somewhat a same arena against somewhat same enemies. And it kind of shows that that wonderfully animated, wonderfully fluid combat style that was great at the beginning, that really hooked you, it's kind of their one trick. It's kind of the one thing that they have up their sleeve. And it's a little bit of a shame, because it's a little bit of a tiny flash with not much bang. And I'm sure the further I'll play, there'll be a lot more modes that open up and a lot of different things, but there's no exploration. There's no other type of control that you have in it. It's just listening to the story and jumping into very similar battles. But that's not to say it's a bad game necessarily. If you are a fan of learning new worlds and new stories, as I've said, then definitely this is for you. It's very engaging, and I found myself just putting on auto so that I can just listen through, and it's really great. But when I wanted some action, those scenes can last a little bit too long, and then you jump into the action and it's very similar, and that's a little bit of a shame. But it is quite a nice looking game, and It's fresh is the word that I'll use for it. It's not unique, but it's very fresh. There's a lot of little details that make you go, oh yeah, this isn't just a cookie cutter game, just another gotcha mechanics game with some fantasy slapped on top. Instead, to the little details, the way that the text is presented, the way that the menu looks, there's a lot of just tiny little things that make you go, oh yeah, they've put some thought into this design and it stands out quite nicely. It's just a shame that its most attractive part of it, which is this wonderful combat system, is kind of the only big changing good thing that it has for it. If there was a little bit more exploration, if there was a little bit more difference, a little bit more variety, then yeah, this would be a fun game to keep on with. But I'm not going to be complaining too much. I'm still having fun, and I've had fun playing through, and I hope you've had fun watching, folks. This has been just a little look at Aether Gazer. If you want to know where that name comes from, it is the name of the team that we're controlling. They masquerade as an insurance firm, and while they're taking down all of this corrupted code within the virtual world. But yes, let us know in the comments below. Is this a game that you would like to play yourselves? Has it caught your eye? Or do you think that it's somewhat of a little one-trick pony? Let us know. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. But for now, my friends, luck and more to you all, and catch you next time.